Mr. President, thank you very much, and thank you to Senator Pia Cayetano for her graciousness. Thank you to the Majority Floor Leader. I raise today a matter of transcendental importance to our country, and I'm going to speak about two issues that are related to this. Unang-una po, yung ating pumapasok na pera na napakalalaki dito sa ating bansa at tila hindi masawata. Mr. President, money laundering has become an international crime, especially after the 9/11 crisis. And so a lot of countries have fallen under the influence of the FITF to make sure that money laundering we have a handle on money laundering. It's the means upon which criminals ensure that at the end, crime pays. Yan ang problema. Yung mga naggawa ng krimen ay kumikita ba sila? And with the proliferation of Philippine offshore gaming operations in the country, it is the Filipino people that pays the price. As on the Supreme Court decision on the Philippine Deposit Insurance Corporation versus Gidwani, money laundering was defined as a crime whereby the proceeds of an unlawful activity are transacted, thereby making them appear to have originated from legitimate sources. Now, Mr. President, I'd like to state here that nakakagulat to, and that's why I'm constrained to make a presentation on this matter today, and I would like to announce that we are motu proprio calling for a blue ribbon investigation on Thursday. I have already issued the announcement day before yesterday, and therefore we are going to investigate this motu proprio. Now, Mr. President, nakakita na ba tayo dito ng $5 million in cold cash? I wonder if any of the senators here, Senator Riza, Senator Pangilinan, Senator Subiri, may nakita na ba kayo ng $5 million in cold cash? Or $10 million or $20 million cash? At $100 bills. Now, Mr. President, in the last several months, starting last year,
I'm imagining I'm visualizing.
yes, and I will make it the visualization even better. If you look at some of the money that has come in, that is nakabalot, nasa maleta, you can see the maleta there, punong-puno ng dollars. Now, Mr. President, if you look at the way it has been brought in, a total, baka mali pa nga ito, baka
All right.
Ready to resume, Speaker.
All right, the session is resumed. Senator Gordon, you have the floor.
thank you very much after I have been pecuniarily interrupted. Let me just describe what we're talking about here, Mr. President. Before us is a list of POGO of money that has come into our country. And I don't know why they're using, we have the real names. And I think the last time I heard we have parliamentary immunity here. And so therefore, Mr. President, if you take a look at the slides, starting 17 December 2019, Mr. President, $2 million came in under a certain Mr. Kai. Let's just call him Mr. Kai. On 27 December 2019, Mr. Kai again came out with $4 million. I was hoping that I would see the whole line. On 3rd January 2020, or about 6 days later, or 7 days later, came out with $4.10 million. Cash yan, pinapasok, cash. On 6 January 2020, $2 million were brought in. On 8 January 2020, ang pumasok $3.50 million. 21 January, $3 million. On 28 January 2020, $3 million. And you can see the list goes on. Somebody running this. Having said that, Mr. President, makita nyo, ang dami-dami pumapasok na pera. One guy has come in with 47 times na pumapasok doon sa ating, yan ang listahan po. Yeah, may mga pangalan na yan. Can you scroll down, please, so that all the senators can see it? Can you make it bigger? You can see the various amounts coming in. Is it not possible to make it bigger? Kai Long Shoy, ayan yan, no? Kai Him Chan, Xiong Neng, whatever it is, ang dami-dami. 4 million, 3 million, 2 million, tuloy-tuloy. Kunyari, investment. Why Yip Leong? And the classic thing about it is that they are matino. Mapasok ng legal. Dinideklara na sila ay nagpapasok ng milyon na dolyar. So, nakikita nyo, si Kai Hailey, 3 transactions, si Lee Kahi, 3 transactions, at ang total niya 11 million. Ito 2 transactions, si To Yim Leung, 2 transactions, Wi-Fi Leung, 3 transactions, $9.5 million. I can go on and on. You can see how many transactions. There is even one guy there with 47 transactions. Meron Pilipino kasama ko na nagpapasok dyan. In total, I think I have the total among Filipinos and Chinese. Yan Rodriguez na yan. Nahuli po yan. Simon Rodriguez. Nahuli in September. Nahuli siya. Dahan-dahan naman. Nahuli siya. At hindi pa nag-declare. So nahuli siya. Bumalik ulit. This time nag-declare. At pagkatapos, sinama na yung mga kapatid, mga kamag-anak. Ayan, John Joshua Rodriguez, 40 transactions. Can you bring it back, please? 40 transactions. Makita ninyo, ayan, no? John Joshua, 1.5 million, $606,000. $400,000, $900,000, $1 million. Tuloy-tuloy. Tuloy-tuloy. Lagari is an assembly line of bringing in millions and millions of dollars to our country. Now, normally, Mr. President, ang bawat Pilipino, the moment you go over $10,000, you have to declare. Now, just because you declare doesn't mean you're not a money launderer. Now, siguro naman kahit a grade school student, pag sinabi mo, ganyan karaming dolyar na pumapasok, magtatanong, ano ba ang negosyo mo? Ba't ka nagpapasok ng ganyan kalalaki? At saan napupunta yung pera? Sapagkat kung titignan nyo, a total of $447 million or 22.69 billion pesos was brought in by 47 individuals, including Filipinos, from September 2019 to February 2020. The total amount brought in by Chinese individuals was $210 million or 10.6 billion pesos, or 46.98 of the total amount. Now, how much is $447 million? Kung babayarin natin ang utang natin sa IMF o doon sa ibang lugar, aabot ho yan kayang bayaran. Sapagkat ang utang natin doon ay about $200+ million. Nahilo na. Akin lang yan. So that means, external debt natin by creditor country as of end September 2019. $82.67 billion ang utang natin. Countries for whom Philippines owe foreign debt that is around or less than $500 million. Remember, this is $400+ million. Australia, $596 million. Malapit na natin mabayaran. Ang Canada, lalo malapit, $479 million. Virgin Islands, $205 million. Bayad kaagad. Luxembourg, $133 million. Bayad kaagad. Because we can pay total debt because we have over $440 million. Now, the question is, saan napupunta itong perang ito? Ito ba, dinadala? Ang nakalagay dyan karamihan ay for casino. At siyempre, pag nilagay sa casino yan, at nanalo, pinasok ng cash, babalik ka ngayon, bibigyan sila ng certificate na nanalo sila, pwede nilang ipasok sa banking system, ibabalik nila ngayon sa source, sapagkat legal na nagkaroon sila ng papel na dokumento. Meron rin silang panlaro, halimbawa sa mga investment. And this is one thing that I'd like everybody to take note. The Philippines has become number 2 today in terms of real estate values in Manila. Tinalo na natin ang Hong Kong. And if you show the slide of the Fitch, makikita nyo, ang Hong Kong pa rin ang pinakamataas, pero ang Pilipinas ay number 2. Bakit? Pumapasok yung mga POGO dyan, at saka yung maaaring yung perang pinapasok dyan ay nadadala sa tinatawag nating real estate. Is just one way of washing or laundering money. Makikita nyo, number 1 ang Hong Kong, halos magkatapat na ang housing price index ng ating Manila, no, or Philippines. That means kung ang Hong Kong nagkakagulo ngayon sa Hong Kong because hindi na makakuha ng apartment ang mga Chinese, mga bata, nababahala sila, ganun din dito sa atin. Mahihirapan ng we cannot have our own apartment, our own tenement, because the money has become so expensive, it's very hard to pay for it. So that means it could lead to social conflict later on, Mr. President. Having said that, if we go back now to the previous slide, you can see na hindi lang yan, it can go into other things. Can it fund a military expedition? Can it fund the Maute in Lanao del Norte? Lanao del Sur, rather. Pwede ba sila bumili ng firearms? Can it fund, for example, other things like money laundering can be used in other things. Now, if we want to be safe, we can fund alleviate the classroom shortage in the Philippines of 8,104 one-story, four-classroom building at 2 billion, at 2,775,000 each. We can fund our armed forces with that kind of money. One frigate costs 18 billion. So makakabili na tayo ng isang frigate. And we can buy 4 F-35 jets at 5.2 billion. Can you slow down, please? I cannot catch up. 5.2 billion pesos each. Go ahead to the next slide. You can fund 15 C-130 aircraft which we need in these islands. 1.5 billion pesos each. Tayo ngayon may 5 na C-130. 2 lang ang lumilipad. Yung 3 nasa garahe. 7 Martin F-16 Fighting Falcons. You can buy all these things, Mr. President, with the kind of money at 3.12 billion each. Kaya bumili natin ng mga bagay na ganyan. Now, saan ba napupunta yung pera yan? Like I said, napupunta at nakikita natin, when I relate now and cross over to POGO, makikita nyo sa POGO, they occupy apartments now at 50 or 20 or 40 per apartment. Kaya nag-iba na ang presyo ng real estate dito. So you can see, if you occupy the POGO at 50 per, di ba dapat makialam ang fire department dyan na pagka nakasunog maraming mamamatay. There is one multinational subdivision that I can show you a little video on that shows na itong how POGO affects us, no? 70% of the subdivision is now occupied. Now, mind you, this is not a humble subdivision. It is upper middle class. Go ahead, please. That's a lady. Mali pa pala ako 1 to 200. Nagpapalit-palit. They're fetched by buses. Nice-looking buses. Nice-looking vans. They go going back. 12 years sa van na yan. Now, can you imagine the impact on water alone? There's a water shortage in our country, in Manila. Sa dami niyan, let's say 400,000 POGO, maapektuhan ang tubig natin, maapektuhan ang kuryente natin, maapektuhan lahat, pati basura. So, we do have a problem here, 19 passengers. Bababa dyan sa bus na yan, o akyat. Bababa. Can you speed it up some more? Look at the house. There's another house. Yun, 50 ang katao doon sa bahay na yan. Yan. Nabutan natin ang bahay na may lamang 50. Dito, coaster number 1, total passenger 21. Their coasters are clearly marked, which means it's a very organized operation, Mr. President. hiring buses, hiring cars, hiring vans, getting homes. Kompleto talaga. Mas organized pa sa gobyerno, Mr. President. So, yan, Hyundai bus. And they have numbers on the buses. Parang school bus nung araw. 130, 220. So you can see, Mr. President, it's a very highly organized operation. And what's the problem also is that they even have a firing range inside. That's right. Firing range. Yan, side of the firing range. Sinuturo mismo ng mga tao. And by the way, if you will recall, the other day, there were PLA identification cards caught in a shooting involving 3 Chinese types na napatay ata isa at iba ayan, no? Killing of a Chinese worker for an online gaming company in Makati was shrouded in mystery on Saturday after the police chief. I submit, Mr. President, because we found Chinese military identification cards here, although hindi in possession of the people who killed, there are 2 things that you investigate. Bakit may baril yung mga yan? Bakit may dalawang 45 at saka 9mm na baril yung mga yan? And also, bakit may identity card? Now, of course, sabi nga ni Senator Lacson, we can send missives to China and say, can you identify this PLA card holder? But I'm sure, baka wala mangyari dyan, no? So, in other words, Mr. President, it has crept into our society. So much so, if you have 400,000 people here, and not only in Manila, they are already in other places. Davao, Olongapo, in my own hometown, meron sila. And nagkala talaga ang POGOs, no? So, you can imagine the presence of 400,000 people in Manila that can easily take over, and I'm going from the sublime to the ridiculous. You can take a look. In Pampanga, they have 4. Olongapo, they have 3. In Calabarzon, they have 2. In Central Visayas, they have 4. The whole Cavite Covlandia has been taken over by apartments built for POGO, Mr. President. So talagang they have overwhelmed us. It's a creeping invasion where they have taken up specific areas where the Chinese are. I'm not being Sinophobic. I'm just trying to express some concern on why there is no seeming regulation, no seeming effort to try and locate these people. If they have firearms, delikado yan. If they're bringing in money, hinanap ba natin yung pera kung saan dinala? Tayong lahat dito, ang tawag sa atin dito, politically exposed persons tayo. When we put in money in the bank, they will ask us, saan mo kinuha yung pera? Even my children, tatanungin yan, politically exposed ang tatay mo, kabag-anak mo, asawa mo, nanay mo, tatanungin, politically exposed person, sasaliksikin yan. When I got a donation from a good friend in Taiwan of $1 million for the Red Cross, just for recently, nagtagal doon sa bangko at I had to call them, oy, para sa Red Cross yan. Ito mga ito, labas-pasok doon sa airport na walang, excuse me, na wala man lang tanong. Worse, shouldn't be, lagay mo na, sabi ng batas, basta nag-declare, okay. Pero nahuli nung isang beses, hindi nag-declare. Si Rodriguez. A few days later, he's back, only declaring. So does that mean na porque nag-declare ka, hindi mo na hahanapin yung pera? Dapat hanapin natin kung saan napunta yung pera, at the very least. Kung wala sa law yan, it's a time to change the law and make sure that anybody who makes a declaration of a significant amount of money must declare right there and there. The other question I ask is, nag-report ang customs sa Central Bank. Nag-report in September. Hanggang ngayon, walang aksyon. Ayan, sinumbong si Rodriguez, Simon John Gangani, no? Na nagpasok ng 700,000 at later on nagpasok ulit ng $17 million. Up to now, wala pa rin. At nung nilabas ko ng isang araw yan, sabi ni Central Bank Governor, my good friend, and he's a good friend indeed, si Ben Diokno from UP, sabi niya, noted, no? No comment, sabi niya gano'n. si Sally Dominguez, who I went to school with in Ateneo, said, I'm aware of it. And now, sabi niya ngayon, ina-alert na nila. Maybe too late. The horse may be out of the barn. Pumasok na lahat ang pera. Saan dinala yan? Saan ginamit yan? Has it gone to Mindanao? Has it gone to buy arms? You will recall, Mr. President, na noong 1970s, President Marcos said to go to China para awatin si Mao Zedong na magpadala ng resources sa NPA. And that's how tumigil yung NPA, nawalan sila ng sources of funding. So you can see, we will be easily destabilized by anybody, by even a syndicate with a lot of money. That kind of money, as I said, can buy all kinds of arms, can buy schools, can buy C-130s, can even put people in office easily. They can fund the kind of disease of some of our friends, and they can become regulatorily captured, if not hostage, to whatever these people want. So, Mr. President, I am sincerely concerned about this because, as I already told you, I don't have to go to too many things like, with that amount of money, they can buy their own condominiums, they can build their own buildings. I even heard that a friend of mine, I don't have proof of this, but I was told, natatakot sa magsabi, they bought 1 billion pesos of, sa bahay sa Forbes Park. Ginamit yung pangalan ng asawa at humanap na lang sa outside area na magbibigay ng manager's check for the cash para natuloy yung transaction. So obviously, Mr. President, there is need for us to make sure that we check this. Why? I'll even show you how brazen they are. They even have a bus that says, if you need to fix up your immigration, ayan, yung bus na yan, nakalagay, airport transfer, company, visa, tickets, passport service, immigration clearance, extended stay, work visa. My gosh, Mr. President, I was the Secretary of Tourism. We brought in these tourists, visa on arrival, but it was clear they cannot extend, they cannot convert. Pero ito, they convert. We should ask the Department of Labor, sino nagbibigay ng permit? Yung mga tao natin, tama, si Senator Villanueva. Ang hirap-hirap kumuha ng trabaho, pero ito mga ito, papasok dito, i-convert nila yung tourist visa nila, magkakaroon sila ng trabaho kagad dito sa mga bagay na ito. Sino ba ang kumikita talaga dito? Ang kita ng gobyerno, kaparinggit, Mr. President. Ang kita ng gobyerno sa taxes, do you have it? Ay kumulang lang 9 billion. Alam nyo ba, yung TIN, walang TIN karamihan yan. Out of 60 POGOs, only 10 organizations have their employees properly documented with TIN. So ano kukuha na 9 billion, samantalang dapat makuha 20 billion. Isa pang masakit dyan, ay yung tax nila, franchise tax, dapat 5%. They were assessed 5% by the BIR. Ang inassess, because nag-appeal, napunta sa PAGCOR, ang sabi ng PAGCOR, hindi, 2% lang yan because that is money earned abroad. I disagree with that, Mr. President. Why should we keep leaning over backward? And the Finance Secretary back up the PAGCOR. So ano nangyari? Instead of getting a lot of money, like maybe about 50 billion more, wala tayong nakuha. Doon lang sa TIN, we could get another 50 billion in taxes. And yet, tayo mga Pilipino, we just watch the caravans go by, and we don't know it's hurting us. We don't know that it is making inroads to our moral fiber. You have prostitution here. Senator Hontiveros uncovered this. Take a look at the pictures of our people, our country being used to allow them to have their own prostitution dens, Mr. President. Their own drugs, everything. And it doesn't matter whether Chinese or Filipino. That is a travesty upon mankind, Mr. President. Mr. President. So you see, it really affects the moral fiber of our nation, distorts our property values, distorts our capability to control people who can do it. They do it with such impunity, they stick their tongue out as they go all the way to the back. They shoot people, and they get away with it. They kidnap POGO employees, Mr. President. My gosh, what has happened to our country? Sabi nga ni Senator Drilon, sabi niya, in all my 21 years, mas matanda sa akin si Drilon ng konti sa itsura, no? Itsura lang. But I'm telling you, I am chagrined, as I'm sure Senator Drilon is, We smile about it. We are both chagrined that this is happening to our country. This is totally unacceptable. I don't care if they put in money. If you want a very quick solution, dalhin nyo sila doon sa somewhere in Nueva Ecija, doon mo sila ilagay doon. At wala na dito sa Maynila. Then, hindi pa magkakaroon ng problema sa kuryente o sa tubig dito. And at least you can know where they are. You have to know where they are. If you don't know where they are, kung sakaling magkagulo yan, di natin alam kung nasa naroon yan. Do you remember, and Senator De Leon and I were talking about it earlier, and I've been saying this on radio. Ang sabi ko, do you remember Little Tokyo in Davao? When General Bato de la Rosa was 10 years old and there was a Little Tokyo in Davao? And, di ba 10? 15 ba? And all of a sudden, these people in sari-sari stores, they were majors and colonels in the Kanpeitai, in the Japanese army. So when the Japanese came in, they knew where to land, they knew where to go, and you know that maybe some of this money can be used to really get people who will cooperate with them in case we have trouble with them. Are they penetrating our armed forces? Are they penetrating our police? My God, Mr. President, sometimes I joke about it. I used to do it, not anymore. I used to say that we must be a viable country. But today we're becoming a viable country. B-U-Y-A-B-L-E. Hindi na tayo viable as a country. We let our borders collapse. We let our islands be taken over by some of our neighbors who are supposed to be good guys. And, Mr. President, we allow them to bring in as much money as they want. They come from Hong Kong, and they are allowed to gamble here, but the take is so little, it's not even worth the spit, Mr. President. And so, Mr. President, I would like just to thank the body for allowing me this so that when we conduct the public hearing on Thursday, we will all know where we are, the overview. And we should be able to research, each of us, to be able to know how we can fix this situation, not just in aid of legislation, but to ensure that the flag of the country still reigns sovereign in our country, that we cannot allow any other country to gain economic, they used to say imperialism. Imperialism was a way a country was able to take over and run the natural resources of a country and take it back home. Here is another kind of imperialism. This is mercantile imperialism. Talagang the power of money. Every day they come in and they buy our people, and they buy our homes, and they buy our buses, and they buy our everything, Mr. President. It's a juggernaut. And to my mind, it's about time we act. We must act, Mr. President. Read my lips. It is time to act. Thank you very much, Mr. President.